Passed right in front of you. It's honestly breathtaking. Because Rotterdam 5 was more than just a beloved ship. She was the vessel that allowed us to go from being a fleet of ocean liners that occasionally cruised, making cruising our business. But by the time the 60s rolled around, we had entered a new battleground in the cruising industry. As other fleets made the same adjustments we were making, we found ourselves once again in competition for passengers. So we had to find a unique advantage, and we had to do it fast, because the 60s may have been swinging, the 70s brought only about oil embargoes, financial crises, and suddenly we had major choices to make. The first thing we did, we shut down our cargo operations. We've had about 80 cargo ships in our history, the deck ships, but from that moment on, we never had another one. And things were starting to look bleak. I'll let Kees explain. Back in the 70s, he was on board one of our last few passenger ships, the Prinsendam.
There were only 3 or 4 passenger ships left, and that was not enough to sustain the company and pay for the overhead. So it was felt that you need to offer new and exciting adventures. In the mid-1970s, the company was associated with West Tours, a very successful tour company here in Alaska. So they decided, we're going to bring that Prinsendam to Alaska.
That's correct. While the rest of the world was focusing on the warm waters of the Caribbean, we took one ship, one of our last ships, and we sent it thousands of miles in the wrong direction.
I was on the Prinsendam. That was the very first ship slotted to go to Alaska. Alaska was different, very, very, very different than it is now. If you walked in Juneau, there were no jewelry shops like you find everywhere in the Caribbean. There were no tour buses. We used school buses. That was all what was available in those days. Sitka had 3 taxis, then that was it.
But there was also another problem. Prinsendam was in Asia and had to get across the Pacific to start her first Alaska cruise, which was tricky in the days before GPS or computer-guided navigation.
This was supposed to be a 10-day North Pacific crossing, and this was in April. And we left Yokohama, and it was dense fog. Couldn't see anything for days. So here we go, basically the old-fashioned way, dead reckoning. You estimate how fast the ship is going, you know your course, and you plot on the chart, every day where you are. So I'm on the bridge, and I look on the radar, and I look outside, and I look on the radar again, and I see land. It was not supposed to be land for at least another day, to our estimate. So I called the captain. They said, "Captain, oh, land in sight." He said, "What the hell are you talking about? It's not 1650, it's 1975. He said, "Come on the bridge, I see land." And he saw these snow-capped mountains, from Vancouver Island.
They had arrived the full 24 hours too early. Remember what I said about never being behind the curve again? Well, it's kind of amazing that we were ahead of our schedule for our very first Alaska cruise, because we were way ahead of everyone else when it came to Alaska. And it paid off. Thousands and thousands of people flocked to explore this new destination. So many, in fact, that we had to start bringing ships from New York over to the West Coast.
The ships needed to move from New York to Vancouver, and that's a long way. So we needed to come up with a cruise to do that make it attractive for people to say, "Hey, I've never been with a ship through the Panama Canal. Hey, there are interesting ports down in the Caribbean that we normally don't go to." The company always found a way to persevere. It's hard to say you did well when times are difficult, but it's not how you go in and how you come out.
And in just a few years' time, we had became the Alaska powerhouse. We bought a train and a resort, and we helped transform Alaska into what it is today, a top tourist destination in the world. And it's amazing that one idea, Cruise Alaska, changed everything. The jet plane almost ruined us, but just by stepping out, by taking risk, by stepping out of what was comfortable, we survived. And don't get me wrong, jets are amazing. They can get us all around the world, but jet planes can't show you what we can show you up close. Alaska was so successful that despite the economic disaster of the 70s, we were planning to expand our fleet with 2 more ships. But then something happened. Alaska put us on the radar of a small company in Florida. You might have heard of them. They're called Carnival. The partnership with Carnival immediately paid off. And instead of 2 ships, we took delivery on 12 ships in 12 years. Each one a purpose-built cruise ship. Each one built at the Fincantieri shipyard in Venice, Italy. Each one a symbol of how far we had come. Each ship to this day is a symbol of our commitment to go further, deeper, to connect people to new experiences, to make new stories. That's a big idea and a lot of responsibility. Responsibility that we take very seriously. In 2020, we encountered a global tragedy that affected lives and communities all over the world and completely disrupted the cruise industry. In all our history, the COVID-19 pandemic was one of the biggest challenges we've ever faced. As the world and life paused, governments raced to respond. We knew what we had to do. First, we had to get our guests home. And to be honest, it was hard. And one of the hardest things that we've ever had to go through, but as hard as it was, we were committed to do everything and anything. And it took every single one of us, and we got it done. But our work wasn't over yet. After we got our guests home, we turned our focus to our team members. People, thousands and thousands of people who come from all corners of the globe. Holland America Line joined the largest peacetime repatriation effort in the history of the world. With planes grounded, borders closed, it took nearly 4 months. Finally, we got everyone home. And to be honest, when you need to move thousands of people, thousands of miles, and air travel is no sure thing, then it's a really good time to have your own Navy. This photo was taken June 4, 2020, and there we are, in Manila Bay with dozens of other ships. Eventually we had ships all over the world where we waited and hoped for a light. But now that we're all here, back together, back at sea, we're perhaps most importantly, once again hopeful for the future. And remember what Kay said? It's not how you go in, it's how you come out. So how do we come out of this? We have always believed that there's a power in travel. It binds us together, it helps us dream, it helps us forge new memories. And now more than ever, we are embracing our past as we move forward with a new beginning. And what better way to begin than, as we often have done before, with a new ship, a 7th ship called Rotterdam. Our first new built ship to be launched after the pandemic, named like so many before her, after our home, where it all started. A reminder of our resilience and an expression of hope that while there are times of hardship, there are also many journeys that lie ahead. And to help her in this mission, the newest Rotterdam, like every other Holland America Line ship before her, has someone very special looking over her. Princess Margriet of the Netherlands, who holds the record for most Holland America Line ships christened, and proudly continues this rich tradition. For thousands and thousands of years, ship captains of nearly every single world culture have looked to the heavens to protect their ships against the unknown. As recent as just a few hundred years, women were carved into the bows of ships to give captains better sight. Now, these days we do a little different. We have godmothers. Our tradition started actually with our very first ship, the Rotterdam, and she was dedicated by the captain's daughter. Our second ship, the Maasdam, was also godmothered by the captain's daughter. And since that day, every single ship had a godmother looking over her. We had actresses, television personalities, athletes, We had even the Olsen twins. We had 11 members of the Dutch royal family, 4 princesses and 4 queens. Queen Wilhelmina dedicated New Amsterdam too. And by the way, Queen Wilhelmina, I only know her from the Peppermints, but she was apparently the first female billionaire. So the royal family may not be the flashiest, but they're one of the wealthiest and one of the most beloved. When Queen Juliana blessed Rotterdam 5, 50,000 people showed up to watch. Her daughter, Queen Beatrix, was the godmother of 2 ships, Statendam 4 and the one and only Eurodam. The current queen, Queen Maxima, not only watches over New Amsterdam, but also over Koningsdam, a ship named for her husband, King Willem-Alexander, the first male monarch in the Netherlands in over a century. And a couple of years ago, we welcomed Oprah Winfrey to our family of godmothers when she dedicated New Statendam in February 2019, sending her upon a trip of a lifetime. So our hero story has lasted for more than 150 years, and it's been extraordinary. We've survived 2 world wars, the death of the ocean liner, the Great Depression, multiple economic crises. We've circled the globe, carried generations of passengers, and seen the birth of countless new eras. So, what do we learn from all of this, besides some fun historical tidbits? There is an old saying: the pessimist complains about the wind, the optimist expects this to change, and the realist adjusts the sails. I know it's a little try to do a sailing metaphor on a ship, but this one works, because it perfectly sums up the journey of our hero, Holland America Line. With every change, every difficulty, every new era, we observed, we learned, we reflected. And then we made adjustments that put us where we are today, 152 years later. Stronger, wiser, and ready to continue to take people to new worlds. And I want to leave you with some last words from Mr. Bill Miller himself, because I think he says it best.
It's not about rivets or steel or carpets or artwork. It's the magic that somehow that a ship has when it comes in the beginning that just extends to everybody, and they just love it. They've been a wonderful family. They've been my friends. I've watched them come and they go, their life stories. It's like a great big maritime soap opera with all these actresses playing these parts. And when I put my little head on the pillow at night, I think the ships are still here, thank God. It's wonderful.
And so, on behalf of the 15,000 current employees of Holland America Line and all those who have come before, I would like to thank you for coming tonight, and more importantly, for being part of our journey. And I'll thank you in Dutch. Dank u wel.